What would it take to heal the divide between Democrats and Republicans in the US? A fucking miracle. A white horse neighs off in the distance. Ah, the apocalypse. Ranked voting. Agree 100%. I think we would get more moderates elected and third-party candidates would win more seats. You could vote for someone who more closely aligns with your ideology instead of picking the lesser of two evils without fear of splitting the vote and getting stuck with the greater of two evils. Fear of splitting the vote causes so many panic votes for evil that third parties don't even stand a chance. A mutual enemy. I thought COVID could be it. Was dead wrong. Pandemics historically cause more division since it's an invisible enemy that is typically not fully understood, which leads to paranoia and distrust. Also see the climate crisis. Education reform. The large majority of our population needs to be properly educated for partisan politics to succeed. Yes. What would help as well is media reform, holding networks accountable for the news they spread. The media exaggerates how issues are portrayed. But a properly educated population could be taught to watch out for misinformation and propaganda, which would take the power away from those networks. If people stop watching sensationalist crap, then sensationalist crap disappears. Reintroduce the fairness doctrine, make lobbying and bribes illegal. Term limits. It's wild that lobbying is legal. I always kinda thought that it was just under the table stuff, and then I took a government class and I was blown away. No wonder we have so many corrupt people at it. I was really referring to the bribes that accompany a lot of lobbying. You should definitely be able to communicate with your representatives, but with companies bribing reps, you won't be getting your voice heard because you aren't the one with money. I think a lot of politicians lose sight of their original goals because they are blinded by the money. To be fair, lobbying in and of itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. Writing your congressman, for instance, is a form of lobbying. Bribing politicians to pass legislation you want, now that's wrong. Honestly, a change in media culture. Media corporations have figured out it is highly profitable to factionalize the population. They know by peddling anger and outrage they can keep people engaged. All of us are living in personalized echo chambers, and that makes the truth negotiable. Democracy cannot survive without truth. Until about 20 to 25 years ago, we were all pretty much exposed to the same information. We were getting information from similar sources. That's no longer the case. Edit. Thanks for the awards. My goodness. A fella gets off the internet for a few hours and suddenly bam. Gold. This. Also Seinfeld-esque arguing. We need to get used to not agreeing but also not thinking the other is a bad person because of it. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Copious amounts of LSD. LSD alone ain't enough. Gotta be a national candy flip. Different election process. The current system encourages only having two parties. Removing money from politics. Proportional representation. It frees the election system from the two-party gridlock and gives third parties a realistic chance. This creates more competitors for the two main parties. Competition is good. It gives an opportunity to represent more than yes or no. All shades and varieties of views get their party, and the parties then need to cooperate sufficiently well. Reimplantation of the Truth in Reporting Act. I'm sure it was called something else, but Reagan basically ended fact-based news. Edit. Credit where it's due. I thought it happened when Reagan killed the fairness doctrine. If bullshit happened in American politics, always assume it started in the Reagan era and you will be right a lot of them time. Strictest state gun control ever enacted was done by Reagan in California after Black Panthers legally protested while open carrying. They do the progressive things if black people scare them into it. The death of social media. Wouldn't solve it but would definitely help. An alien invasion. Dr. Manhattan would tell you that's only a temporary solution. Nothing ever ends, Adrian. At this point, a giant alien squid cloned by a billionaire former costumed vigilante teleporting into New York and exploding. Ranked choice voting. We need other options than only DNR, and then those two groups would wisen up and actually try to represent all of us, and not just their extreme bases. Removal of the profit motive to keep the divide between Democrats and Republicans in the US. Get off social media, everyone. It's all fake, no one is really the caricature they have been made out to be. It will all be alright if we get off social media. Unfortunately, the divide started well before social media became a thing. It may have kicked it into overdrive a bit though. Politicians putting country over party. Putting the country over themselves. It's pretty damned simple. For Republicans to generally abandon modern republicanism, there's almost literally nothing moral, logical, scientifically based, or socially healthy about their positions. There is no economic or social evidence to support their anti-education stances. There is no economic evidence to support their anti-welfare stance. There is no economic evidence to support austerity. There is no scientific evidence to support their environmental stances. There is no sociological evidence to support their sex ed, contraceptive stances. There is no scientific, medical, anthropological, or social evidence to support their homophobic stances. There is no economic or sociocultural evidence to support their occasional lean toward isolationism. There is no social evidence to support their tough on crime, law and order stance, Dems too, but Dems are at least swinging in that direction. There is no scientific or medical evidence to support their weird anti-vax stance. There is no economic evidence to support the stance that private businesses are better and cheaper than government options over a long period of time. Usually the exact opposite. There is no social evidence to support their open carry, easy to access gun stances. I could keep going. Their policy stances appear entirely centered around the following things that should never govern policy decisions. 1. Tradition. 2. Fear. 3. Hatred. 4. Greed. When I say, no evidence, I'm talking about good, thorough, non-biased statistical evidence. Fix the fucking media.